morning coffee, and a chance to muse over some of the similarities between Hannibal, the Carthaginian commander, and Scipio Africanus. In the Second Punic War, which was Rome versus Carthage, you have Hannibal leading the Carthaginians, and then you have this young up-and-coming general called Scipio Africanus. He's called Africanus because he defeats Hannibal at the Battle of the Zama in 202 BC, which ends the Second Punic War. In fact, they fought against each other previous. They'd had a bit of a tangle at Cannae. Hannibal led the Carthaginian force, won the day there, huge victory, and Scipio just about managed to survive. And in fact, you can actually go one generation further back, because earlier on, just prior to the Battle of Trebia in 218 BC, there's a small cavalry skirmish. It's called the Battle of the Ticinus or Ticinus. And Hannibal's army, or rather cavalry detachment, engages with Scipio's father, Scipio, and wounds him. And the Hollywood story is that Scipio then goes and saves his dad. But anyway, that aside. So you've got these two individuals, and obviously they're opposing each other, and they're set against each other. And it's one of the kind of great historical narrative rivalries that's set up particularly in Livy. But the reality is they share a fair amount of similarities. For example, both of them had generals as fathers. Hannibal had Hamilcar, who was a very effective general in the First Punic War. He'd fought on Sicily and led a very good guerrilla campaign there. And shortly afterwards, and when they lose the First Punic War, he's brought back to Carthage and he has to deal with all the mercenaries who haven't been paid and are causing all sorts of problems there. Subsequent to that, he then gets sick of the whole Carthaginian political scene and moves to southern Iberia with the idea of setting up his own sort of mini kingdom there and being able to access all of the vast mineral wealth that is in southern Iberia. He takes with him Hannibal, who's around 9 years of age, and Hannibal learns everything about what it is to be a soldier and what it is to be a general in Iberia. People often think, because he's Carthaginian, it was all in Carthage. No, he learned pretty much everything he had in Iberia, and he ends up leading an army there, and it's from Iberia that he launches his invasion of Rome from. Likewise, you've got Scipio Africanus, because Scipio doesn't really have much military experience until he's sent to the Iberian Peninsula, and that's because his father had been a general there, and I think his uncle as well, and they've both been killed. Scipio then learns pretty much everything he knows or becomes accustomed to knowing as a general in Iberia. It's his training school. And then, of course, the two of them eventually meet up in 202 BC. I'm not trying to over-romanticize things, but I think there is enough there to say that they did have some shared experiences, certainly in their background, in particular where they learned their trade, that is to say Iberia, as well as being born into noble families and having generals as fathers.